Wednesday is normally my day off, but at about 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time, we will attempt to, or we will be on with Apostle Yomi. Been invited to speak. You got a flyer, so I'll probably be sharing the flyer on all the social media platforms and stuff, and we'll try to make sure that there's a Google Calendar invite put out for everybody. So we hope that you all are doing well, though. Come on in. Appreciate you. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Jehovah's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it is in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Aman. Barak Allah Sham Yehovah. Shalom Allah Sham Yehovah. Shalom Yechashada'al. Teda Achi Ad Achi Ad Zayin. Kwam Yashra Teda. A'anai Kofi, head of the servants of Christ. Mashalom Chi. Hello, everybody. I am Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. Appreciate your presence tonight. Come on in. We give all honor and praise to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. We thank you guys. Once again, reminder on Wednesday, which is normally my day off, we'll be on at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time with Apostle Yomi. This Saturday coming up, brothers, don't forget that we will have our Zoom meeting for our brothers, for men's. Also, we appreciate you all for being on. We thank you, and we hope that you guys are doing well. And don't forget Women in Red, and it's going to be December 23rd at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time, and we're also getting ourselves ready for a fast that will start on December 25th, not because of Christmas. We don't celebrate Christmas, but because it's 7 days prior to the new year. And so we're going to take 7 days of intermittent fasting. And we're asking the last night if you can go ahead and fast until we celebrate New Year's together. And then if you want to break bread after that point, feel free to. And we thank you guys for doing so, coming together as a community spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physiologically, and all the other leads we can put in there. All right, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody real quick and jump right in. Shalom, how you doing? Peace, how you doing? Sister Monica, how you doing? Craig, how you doing? Big Brother Thomas, Sister Nadine, Sister Nadine, Sister LaCrystal, Damon, Lottie Dottie, everybody, for mission name charges to my head, not to my heart. Lifeline Apparel, hello. Sister Knight, Brother TJ, hello, JP, Springtime, let's see, Sister Joy, everybody, appreciate you on TikTok, on YouTube. Thank you for spending some time with us. Tonight, going to talk about something pretty simple. We're going to talk about body shaming. Simple and not yet so simple, right? How you doing, Zahara? You mean assemblies, people of the Most High should talk about body shaming? Sure. Body shaming. How you doing, Shiras? Or Shiras, I'm not sure how to pronounce it again. Hello. Thanks for listening for a few minutes. How you doing, Dawn? Hello to you. Body shaming. And by the way, before we start, because who knows what Bible verse we'll go into, let's do our Bible pledge real quick. This is my Bible. This is my sword. And this will I trust. For Yahshua is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard. For this is my Bible, and this is Yah's word. At Sham Yehovah, Aman. Or in Yehovah's name, amen. Alrighty. How you doing, Sister Drea? So body shaming. So quick question for you all. Matter of fact, I'll put a little poll up real quick. But quick question for you all. Let's see. I'm gonna put a poll on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, I guess I don't know if I can do polls on. I don't think I can, at least not as of yet. Let me see something real quick. Oh, I can. All right, cool. All right, watch this. So we're gonna start a poll on both. I'm gonna try to start a poll on both of these things. All right, and we'll let it. For those of you, if you can interact, I appreciate it. We're only gonna take a minute, right? I need y'all to help me out with something. We're gonna ask, have you been body shamed? All right, we're gonna start the poll now. All right, have you been body shamed? All right, just answer the poll for me real quick. right? Have you ever been body shamed, right? You should have a poll that pops up, I think. If I remember correctly, well, see, I don't know what it looks like on somebody else's device. It might pop up like in the corner, something you can click on or something like that. Not sure, but you should have a poll. Well, what does it mean? Okay, if somebody said you made fun of you because you're fat, you're too skinny. And when you were little, when you were going through puberty as a girl, did you develop breasts and hips and stuff like that, and people made fun of you? Did you not look like a perfect model, and therefore people made fun of you? Did somebody make fun of your hair? Did somebody make fun of your eyes? Did somebody do all this stuff or whatever? Have you been body shamed? All right, we're gonna let it sit up there, right? Body shaming, by the way, is something that the world, a terminology the world uses. We could call it Jonan playing the dozens, making fun of people ad hominem, whatever the case might be. Now, I'm not sure. Did it show you guys a poll up there? Did anybody see a poll on their thing? I tried to tell her to put a poll on TikTok. YouTube, it went up. I didn't even know I could put a poll up on YouTube. If you didn't see it, nope. Okay, let me try. I want to try it just to make sure. Let me see if I can do it like this. I'm going to send another one out. Have you ever been body shamed? All right. All right, I'm gonna try and send this one out. Let's see if you guys get it. You should have something that, at least on mine, it clicked up here, said had like a checklist, and then it was up there. I just want to see if this works now. Right? Let's put a poll up real quick. Did you guys get it that time? I see it up here on mine, but that's just mine. I got the. All right, you see it on yours? Okay, cool. Go ahead, answer for me. Right? I'm gonna see the percentages, see if they match up or how close they are to each other on these two platforms we're using tonight. So once again, don't just type it in the chat. See if you can put it in the poll. If you can click on it, you should have two options, yes or no, right? And you should be able to click on that for us. Let us know. We got about 15 seconds left. If you can just click on that real quick, yes or no. Just going to ask real quick before we get into tonight, because I believe that the answer is going to be, well, I'm not going to give it away, but I believe we're all going to have, we're going to be pretty close to all having the same answer. All right. So it says the poll is finished. I should be able to click on it, I think. Okay, so almost what I thought. One person said no, looks like, or on YouTube it was 100%. No. Okay, on YouTube it was 83% yes, and on TikTok it was 94.74% yes, and then it was 5.26% no. So, what if we were? I'm kind of doing it in my head. If we were to average the two together, as far as just going off percentages, let's say all together, we would be looking at, let's see, what, 83, 94, 94 minus 83 is 11. So if we do like 5.5, we go from 83 to about 88.5%. So let's just say it's somewhere 88 to 89% of us said yes, that we have been, in fact, we have been body shamed. Somebody has made fun of us because of our teeth or because of our hair or because of different things, right? Because of our weight, because of this, or that. You said you were more weight shamed, not body shamed. Okay. Well, if you consider weight shamed as not body shamed, or whichever, right? So I won't. So, but we'll say that a heavy majority of us have had people make fun of us because of something that is natural. Now, I'm not here to say that you can't be overweight, because there is a such thing as being overweight. I'm not here to say that you cannot have things on you that need to be changed. But what I can say is that creating a system in which people feel ashamed about who they are, or even where they are in life, or something they're trying to correct, or whatever the case might be, I would say that there's something that we should probably talk about, because there are a lot of people that carry a lot of self-condemnation because they have been told things by others. And as much as we keep saying, you're great, you're awesome, you're amazing, you're handsome, you're beautiful. The Bible uses descriptions like you are comely, you are majestic, all these different things. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You can tell somebody something all day long, but a lot of us don't accept it as much as we should, because we've been raised in what we've heard, right? If we can just say it that way, we've been raised in what we've heard. We heard certain things about ourselves, and so we have been raised basically in what we've heard. We've taken what people have told us and we've recognized it as reality. Yeah, you know, it can be personal stuff. We personalized it. We've made it our own thing. We've made it our own lifestyle. So we've decided that this is what we must be. We must be what everybody has told us, right? So, for example, a lot of people who never pursued their dreams that they had when they were children, right? Some of you might remember what you wanted to be when you were a child, and you might have given it up. Why did you give it up? When did you give it up? Because somebody told you that's not something you should try to obtain. Now, why is it something you should not try to obtain? Well, it's something you shouldn't try to obtain because it's not something that's likely for you. Well, why not? And how you doing, Miss Ladybug? Shalom to you. Right? Why is that not something I should obtain? Did I say hello, Sister Gertrude? I think I did. Right? Why is it something I shouldn't obtain? Well, somebody told you. Right? Now, I believe that you should do everything according to what the Most High, according to what Hakodash, the Holy Spirit, or the Ruach, as many of you say, what she tells us. I do believe those things, right? But I do believe that. I also believe that most of us don't listen to the Holy Spirit more than we listen to people. And so a lot of body shaming is usually something that comes for the longest time in my life. And I know I got jacked up teeth, so to speak, and I actually do have dental issues from different surgeries that I had when I was younger. Right. I've told you before, they told me I wasn't even supposed to have teeth at this point in my life. So I'm blessed to be able to keep these. But I used to not be able to do something like this because I was afraid of what people would think about my teeth. Still am from time to time because people said stuff about them, not realizing there was stuff going on with me and not realizing myself that I actually could eat and do certain things to heal and change things up. How you doing, babe? My wife is on the Audible Maya. As always, please check her out on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Thanks for being on, babe. Love you very much. And thank you for all that you do. She was teaching the babies today, teaching French class as she faithfully does to those who are homeschooled and those that can make it. For those who weren't able to come on, I got a couple of your messages later saying that you weren't able to come on. I wasn't able to see your text messages and things because I wasn't able to be on today. Sometimes the Zoom link will let both of us on at the same time. Sometimes it won't, but I wasn't able to get on. So for those who tried to come on, I do apologize for not getting the message out, the word. I got it later on in the day. But yeah, we deal with a lot of stuff because we've been told we can't be who Yah has called us to be. And so we have learned to condemn ourselves, and we have learned to back off of what we're supposed to be, including with our bodies. Right? Now, also, too, we're going to talk about body shaming. Can we be honest? Most of us believe that our bodies are supposed to be what they are because of who oppressed you. Amen. My wife says it's exciting to see the progress. She sees the progress of the students and how they're speaking French and Hebrew. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Amen. Because we also do Shabbat school on Saturday. So we praise Yah for that. Now, so watch this. Watch this. So, and how you doing, Sister Patricia? The oppressor, the one who enslaved you, is the one who makes you feel a certain way about your body. Right? The interesting thing about this is that the oppressor, if we be honest, right, the ones who oppressed us, the one who might have kept you in there, the ones who still have some of us in mental slavery today, if we be honest, the oppressor is the one who made sure that you thought less of yourself while they were super attracted to you, if that makes sense. That someone told you were not smart enough or you were not to buy enough, righteous enough, I'm not, right? Think about this now. The person who taught you was your master. Master means teacher. You always think about owner, but master means teacher, right? So the person who set up a system and taught you your place told you that you were nothing while simultaneously wanted to be in bed with you, was attracted to you, even wanted to look like you. Right. I don't remember the name of it. Right. But what's that thing called that you get that the women wore, like in Cinderella or in Sleeping Beauty or in a lot of this stuff where of a certain time frame, they had the really big, huge, it looked like, they almost were shaped like a bell, kind of sort of. They would make sure that they had the dress where they would show their cleavage. They would do things to suck all the air out of them. Their cleavage would pop out, and then they would make sure that they had the big old bell thing. That gown, well, I guess it's a ball gown, but I'm talking about the thing they would put underneath. It was sometimes it was even made out of wood. right? The corset was what they tied tight, but then they had this thing that you would, it looks like a bell, right? Like if you look at Beauty and the Beast, she had it. If you look at Sleeping Beauty, she wore one. Actually, did she wear one? I'm not sure if she wore one. Sleeping Beauty, I might be off on that. But Beauty and the Beast, she had one. Cinderella, they had one. The stepsisters and Cinderella had one, right? It was a hoop skirt. Thank you. Yeah, the hoop skirt, and they would wear it. Right now, why do you think they wore that? Or a hoop dress, hoop skirt, yeah, something in that ballpark, right? Why do you think they wore that? Why do you think they wore that? A petticoat, possibly. I don't know. I don't know what a petticoat is, to be honest with you, right? Because they wanted to have something they didn't have. They wanted to have that hourglass, kind of sort of the hourglass figure, right? Best they could. And they would accent, they sucked in all the stuff to make themselves look skinny, to put stuff in. They accented the breasts, right? And then they did what? They accented the hips and the behind. Even if they didn't have one, they had a fake one, right? They needed to look like they had more of what they had than what they had. Now, you had it naturally, and they got you to hate it, even though their husbands behind the scenes were trying to do everything they could to be in the bedroom with you. But they knew, but they said they tried to make you feel bad about it. Meanwhile, here they are. So you think it's just a new thing because of surgeries and stuff, that now they're trying to be like you, or because of weaves and stuff that they use. They don't call them weaves, of course. For them, they're extensions. You know, we have to realize that if somebody else wears it, it's not something that you should call demeaning. It's something you should call, it's an extension supposed to sound better than a weave, because weave is ghetto, because Israelites and people like that, they belong in ghettos. But the extension's fine. But see, before that though, they had all types of contraptions where they tried to look like you. Matter of fact, you must comprehend that what we call body shaming, right, and how we even body shame ourselves, really comes from a place in which somebody hated you because they wanted to be you. And so, therefore, as they attempted to be you, they needed you to always feel like you were worthless, right? Psalm 123. Once again, they sowed contempt into you to the place to where now you are filled with contempt for yourself, and they are at ease with your scorning. While you have now accepted that their mindset that you have less value because of who you naturally are, here they are trying to go outside of their nature to become what you always should have been at, what you should have always been. Right? How you doing, country girl? Now, I'm not here to go against the whole thing, because I know, look, women can wear protective hair and do all these things or whatever. I'm not trying to say, but I want you to hear this. A lot of the stuff that we are wearing, or we've done, or we've tried to get away from, is because we do not find value in ourselves. Matter of fact, the society that many of us live in does not value you being you, right? You wearing your own culture is not valued enough. Matter of fact, you show up to a job interview wearing you, and you probably won't get the job, right? Even if you are the person who's supposed to be hiring you, you better not show up looking like you, because that's inappropriate. That's something that says that you're not going to take this seriously. Because for you to pop up is a sin in their culture. See, in the word, right? It's a sin in their culture for you to be you. And how you doing, sister? I'm trying to call you the wrong name, sister. I'm about to call you the wrong name again, Yvette, right? I'm trying to call you. I told you I know somebody who's got the similar name to you. I keep trying to call you Yvonne. I know that's wrong. I don't know why it is. I don't know why y'all remind me of each other. But anyways, um, it's you. You were not supposed to wear yourself. You're not supposed to be yourself. You're supposed to be ashamed of yourself, and your shame gets you in. See, the body shaming comes from a deeper thing, which is I'm ashamed of me. How you doing, Sister Irena? Said one of your old co-workers had to cut off his locks and then got fired a few weeks later. Yeah, I remember my wife and I, we were looking, this is maybe last year, something like that, maybe even 2 years ago, I'm not sure. We were looking for something technologically. We're looking for computer, laptop, MacBook, something like that, at maybe a Best Buy, Walmart, probably a Best Buy. I forget where. I feel like it was down south somewhere. But anyways, we were looking for one, and immediately the guy sees me with the locks, and he comes over. He goes, hey man, nice like talking to me, this and that. He kind of like up under me a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? This guy, I'm starting to feel a little weird. And then he starts talking, he basically says, yeah, man, I had to cut off my locks. And I'm realizing, oh, okay, so I guess he's kind of frustrated. And I know what that is too, because when I was younger, not when I say younger, even, you know, what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, maybe I ended up cutting my locks off thinking I was doing something to get a business opportunity. Should have never done it. Felt some kind of way about it, felt horrible about it. In all honesty, like didn't feel myself for a while, but was able to come out of it, right? But anyways, he's telling me about he had to cut his locks, and he said because he had to get the job. And I'm looking at the job. I'm looking at, and no offense to him, but I'm looking at the job. I'm kind of looking at like where he's at in life, and I never said it to him. And I'm thinking to myself, was the job worth you not being yourself? But they have us thinking that it is, right? Um, Brother, you can tell is very extremely smart, very valuable to his company, very outgoing, very great at customer support, customer, um, you know, um, relations, and yet he has decided to get rid of himself in order to fit in and get a job. And this is part. It's deeper than just body shaming. The body shaming is a manifestation of what we think about ourselves. How you doing, Sister Deja? Right? How you doing, Tiwanda? Um, the body shaming, the things like that, because somebody had us feeling a certain way about ourselves. And so it gets to a place you have to realize anything that is your culture is negative in this culture. So if we're going to get used to loving ourselves, once again, can you be overweight? Sure. Um, can you need to operate differently? Of course. Can you need to eat differently? Sure. Can you have can you be too skinny? Can you, according to your body frame? But first of all, who are you? I asked this question many times, but we don't really focus on it with body shape. Let me ask you a question. Who are you? Who are you? Because who you are physically is a manifestation of who you are spiritually. What is your soul? What is your nachevash? What is your psychology concerning you? Who are you? Right, let's have a little bit of conversation in this, right? Because if we're gonna speak body shaming, then we got to speak about who are you. Because if you're ashamed of you, you'll be ashamed of your body. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the people that you think are the most handsome and what the world says the most beautiful, and you talk to them and they can't see any value in themselves at all. They think they're ugly. They think they're disgusting. And I've talked to people on the phone. I've talked to people I've never seen their picture before, and then one day I finally actually meet them in person, or I see their picture and I go, you think that you're ugly? You know what I'm saying? Like as somebody, and maybe I deal with the same thing, but as somebody who literally, was too tall when he was he was always taller than everybody else. People made fun of him. He always was too skinny, got a gap in his tooth, got a chip in his tooth now, got didn't like himself, always was trying to dress like everybody else in the West and never felt comfortable about it. And so even when people would say I look great in the suit, I would always think, I'd always be like, nah, not me. I don't look like that, right? But I would meet people who, according to certain standards, they should be models. You know, you would meet the people that would be. I'm not trying to say this is your attitude in life. I'm just saying you would meet the people that you would think would be the video vixens. You would meet people that would be the dark skinned ebony, you know, great women, or even the light skin, whatever, the mahogany, the I don't even know all the colors that people were using, the mahogany color, the red bones, the whatever, right? All these different things. You would see them, you'd be like, man, that's perfect. But in their mind, they can't accept that because it's not even about their look. They don't comprehend. There's an inward manifestation that hasn't happened yet. Right? There's an inward thing that hasn't happened yet. You said in Japan, crooked teeth is actually seen. Yeah, different cultures. Like in England, you can have bad teeth or whatever. People don't really care, because it's like they don't consider that, right? So obviously, there's some cultural aspects. But what I'm saying is that like those of us, especially who have been colonized in a specific manner, there's certain things that's up. By the way, even in places like in certain places in Asia, you have the geisha girls and stuff like that, or you have women who literally would have when they're little girls will have their feet broken so that they continue to have small feet because that's attractive. So there's different things that are out there, but I'm talking about overall body shaming is going to come from a place to where you don't feel like you know, you don't feel great about you intrinsically. And so it gets to a place where we start dealing with like clinical depressions, where we start dealing with things where people are just not able to see positivity in anything. And if you can't see positivity in anything, you won't see it when you look in the mirror. So the first place you got to deal with body shaming is you have to deal with the shaming of self, right? And the shaming of your culture. Right, you were raised, even even in places, you, because we're not familiar with certain things. I say this all the time. People talk about, oh yeah, Rastafari and everybody in Jamaica, they're about, no, in Jamaica there's a lot of places where they've been taught to hate locks, and they tell you got to cut locks to go to certain schools. you know you'd be surprised. People go, oh well, you go over to China and everything in China, they're very big about you. No, they're wearing suits and ties and shirts like you, and they believe in colorism and stuff, and they've got commercials over there where you put a black person in the washing machine and they come out and they're white, light-skinned Chinese, right? Like there's certain things that there's an oppressive mindset that's been taught. You said for you, it's your height. You're always shorter than most peers. Yeah, and even that, and then they even have certain things that they just give you. If you're short, then you have to have a Napoleon complex. Even though Napoleon was probably not that short, but somebody who didn't like him wrote about him being short, and now everybody says that he was jacked up because he was short. Right? He wasn't really that short in real life. He was a little above average height for his time and for his people and for his peers. But in your mind, Napoleon is probably short whenever you think about him. And therefore, anybody short must have that little man, small man, Napoleon complex. But that's because somebody's put that there. See, so now because somebody has spoken, see what I'm saying? Somebody spoke something over you. And since they spoke it over you, now you carry something now. And because why? Now you're aware of it because the society around you is looking for a particular thing that might not be true. Right. For example, the skin that I wear, I have to be, as much as I try to be in areas I have to be careful, or sometimes even into the fact that somebody will think that because I'm 6'5.5", I speak my mind, and because of the color of my skin, if I raise my voice at all, even to family members, if I raise my voice at all, many of them are automatically like, he's an angry black man. Be afraid of him. Be worried about him. He needs to go away. Right. So I carry certain things in society, or I have to be aware. I don't really carry it as often. I mean, I'm a human, so those things arise in my mind. But there are certain things I even have to be aware of, even though I know that's not who I am. I have to still be careful. Yeah, like if I read, like, okay, if somebody were to do something and come towards my family in a certain way, uh, I still, even depending on how aggressive they are, if they're really aggressive, I'm gonna be really aggressive. But because depending on how aggressive they are, I might just take a stance, but not raise my voice with so much. Why? Because as soon as I raise my voice, everybody's like, up 6'5.5" black man, he about to do something. No, I'm letting you know that you shouldn't be messing with my family like that. But that's not how they look at it, right? So even though I don't carry that stigma about myself, I recognize them in the society. See, that's how wild it is that even when we don't condemn ourselves, we still have to be aware that there's people who are already on guard, or who are already on guard. They'll tell you are on guard, but they're already on guard, right? You as a sister, you walking down the street, man approaches you, you say, I don't want no problems with you, but at the same time, I'm not really trying. You might say it even way nicer than I am. I'm just saying it, matter of fact. Yeah, I don't really see myself being in a relationship right now. I'm just trying to be whatever, but thank you so much. May you have a blessed day. And now dude gets angry with you. All you women don't blah, blah, whatever. Why? Because he's been told, it's been something put out there, right? That you are this. So now the same brother that might even wanted to be with you now, well, I didn't want to be with you anyways. You short, or you fat, or you blah, blah, this and that. They start body shaming. Why? Because it's a form of something called ad hominem, right? Now, what is ad hominem? Ad hominem is a Latin term that is used to be able to say to the man, right? Or maybe it's Greek. I could be wrong with that, right? But it is a term that means to the man. Ad hominem. In other words, you play in the dozens. In other words, you're making fun of somebody. Usually it's something used apologetically, which is when you try to defend something you believe. Usually it's something used apologetically, right? If somebody apologizes, that actually means they should explain their stance. A lot of people say, I don't want your apology, right? What you mean is, I don't want you to explain your stance. right? You just want the person to say, I'm sorry, or to feel some kind of way. And that might be righteous for the time, depending on what your forgiveness language and your love language is, right? Right. But when somebody says ad hominem, they're talking about what? To the man. They're just making fun of you. The most crass and most juvenile description we can give, even though many adults still do this, but the way we can recognize this on a juvenile level is what? Somebody saying something like, hey, we need to go ahead and clean up. You're never clean up, and because of you, we don't get to go on recess like we're supposed to, right? When we finish our nap, I want to go out on recess. Please clean up your area, right? You never clean up your area. And then what does a person say? Your mama. Your mama doesn't mean anything, but because they said your mama, what? Ad hominem. They attacked you. The class starts laughing, and now what happens, right? You feel ashamed, right? Or this is something they used to do when I used to get my hair cut and all that back in the day. Yes, I know it's hard to believe, but there was a time I got haircuts. And when I got haircuts and everything, and I would sit there and you didn't have your shape up, you didn't have your hair outlined a specific way. They called that clean, right? You had to make sure that, you had maybe back in the day, way back in the day, you got parts and some people get designs and stuff. Now you do all the stuff, but you had to do stuff and you had to look clean. And if I was talking to somebody and they were losing an argument, or I was even maybe we were playing the dozens. We were going back and forth. They make fun of me. I make fun of them. And then all of a sudden they say, yeah, you shape up though. And all the boys start teasing and laughing at you. Oh, he ain't got his shape up. Yeah. Which means I haven't had a haircut in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So it's not a fresh shape up. Or somebody say, look at his shoes, because, everybody else's parents were going broke, right? If they weren't outright finding a way to hustle and come up on shoes, but everybody's parents were going broke to make sure they had the latest Jordans and stuff on. Right. Meanwhile, I'm wearing, 20, $30 shoes. And because my shoes aren't worth 150, I'm right. So they're finding ways to try and make fun of you. People are always looking for things to make you ashamed of. But question, what is your standard? See, your beauty standard. See, it's like this. Have you ever noticed that the higher up somebody is in a corporation, including the United States, the less title they have? Yeah, I've never owned it either. I wanted some at one point, to be honest, but it was just a status thing. I knew I didn't even think I could wear them, right? But I just wanted them. But because you got to keep them clean. However, right, the higher somebody gets, the less titles that they need. If somebody is the president of a company, they're the president. If you need to get them further away, they got to become the vice president, or the president of in charge of da 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 da, or the vice president in charge of this and that or whatever. If you're the secretary, you're the secretary. But if you're the secretary of this, and you got to be the secretary of this, secretary of that, right? There's different levels, right? If you are the pastor, you're the pastor. If you're the assistant pastor, you're the assistant pastor. If you're the assistant to the pastor, you're the assistant to the pastor. But all of that stuff, whoever's highest up there, what? They just have one word, right? We're the same thing for you, right? If you have to have other things added to you to make you successful, then really you're actually lower. If we got to add to your title, it actually means we have to lessen your title, right? Right. But we don't think about that. We are ashamed to not have the titles that others have put on us. Right. I've used this as an exercise before. I've told people, I've asked people this: can you describe who you are without mentioning your name, who you work for, right? Mentioning your title, saying anything about um you're having to be whatever, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that you couldn't even mention. You couldn't even explain what you do without making sure that everybody hears certain buzzwords, because we carry those things. And it's the same thing with our bodies. See, a lot of you are not trying to make your body healthy. You're trying to make your body fit in. But what if your body's peculiar to you? Right? There's some things I want my body to change in, but my body's peculiar to me, right? My hair is peculiar to me. If you were not able to see my face, but you were to see my outline, my hair would stick out. You'd say, "Oh, that's Kofi." Even if you just saw the outline or you saw a shadow, you'd be able to say, "Oh, yeah, that's him." right? Because there's certain things that I have. See, I've learned that I need to be more in tune with the essence, the core essence of who I am, the humble myself, the self that nobody sees sometimes except the Most High in me, the self that myself that in the Most High and nobody but my wife will see. I'm more excited about pruning that person, right, than making sure that I grow into what everybody wants me to be. You said your work should tell you who you are. Amen. Right? Like I'm cool. Ross says, anybody ever pruned something during the wintertime? Anybody ever got a bush ready during the wintertime so that in the springtime it can grow? When you start pruning it, there are some people who, and it obviously there can be different cases, of course, of what I'm talking about. But a lot of people don't even recognize that I've got to cut you up a lot if you want me to let you grow correctly next time. Especially if you're not growing correctly, there's certain things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to take a lot of you out to be able to get you what? It's your bare essence to get you back to your original so that you can grow. Right. So if you ask me to prune the bush in wintertime when it has nothing on it, that I'm going to tear it up in your eyes. But I'm not tearing it up. I'm actually preparing it to go back to its original intent, that it will grow in an original fashion. How you doing, Sister Iska? Right? And when I cut it there, then when it grows back in the next season, as much as you might think it's being jacked up, you won't realize until you see it grow back, oh, it was necessary to get all that extra off. See, and the reason why we, right, to prepare, right, to be renewed, come on, right, and to grow back stronger. So now that we've gone through that process, now you'll see the bush different than what you saw before because certain things had to be cut off. Some of you, the only reason you think you are fat, right? Like we were talking about this. I don't know if this was today or yesterday. We were talking about stretch marks, and we were telling people that husbands who have wives who have had, especially wives who have had their children, um, you are attracted to the stretch mark in your wife, especially if you were a husband, right? I'm not talking about a man, not just a boy or somebody trying to play husband, right? Husbands are attracted to stretch marks in their wife because it's a reminder that their wife had to go through something in order for them to bear a child. Why would that be a problem? As the great philosopher Cat Williams once said, men, real men, don't really care if you got stretch marks because stretch marks either is a sign that you once were really small and got big, or you big and got small. Either way, if the goal is to be together, we're gonna be together. How you doing, Sister Ray? Right? You see what I'm saying? So when I look at a stretch mark, right, as a husband, if I look at the stretch mark on a wife, I don't shame her for that, right? I love her for that, right? How do you become a father without the stretch mark? Matter of fact, she went through a lot of changes. She had the line that y'all be talking about, when the woman's line get a certain way, that means she ready. Y'all use that as like a thermometer or something, right? But she had the line. She couldn't sleep well, right? She went through things, gestational things that she didn't have before. She got just because she was during with gestational period. There's a lot of different things that my wife had to go through just to make sure that I was a father. Heartburn, all types of stuff, right? Some of you, some people, because they, didn't have the nutrients they needed, they didn't have the vitamins before, the prenatal vitamins you should already be taking before you decide to go through pregnancy, because we don't really plan pregnancy because we don't really do things through vision, you know. So she didn't have certain things, so therefore she went, so some of you go through morning sickness, things like that, right? But there's a lot of things that you'll go through, and then you'll be with supposed men or husbands, and they see the stuff you're going through, and you look at it as a bad thing, and you say, "I can't wait to go ahead." And I'm not saying, fine, take your body back. Your walk is your walk, your body, your choice, all those great things. What I'm saying though is we're going through a mindset, is that in our mind we're saying, I'm going to try and make sure that I'm perfect. But your body when you're pregnant is perfect for pregnancy. You ever thought about that? When your husband says, "Oh, I'm attracted to you," ever thought about the fact he's attracted to you because you're carrying his child? Like your body works beautifully when you're pregnant. You don't think about it that way, right? Matter of fact, your husband, he gains weight because you guys eat the same stuff. So you gain weight, he gains weight. You ever notice that a man who's skinny, he gets with somebody and everybody says, "Oh, he must be in a relationship because he eating." Well, he's eating because he eats with his wife, or he eats, some of you with your girlfriends, but you eat with your wife. And when you eat with your wife is feeding you, and you might not really be feeding yourself like that, or she's feeding you with love. And so you love to sit down and break bread with your wife. You love it. You see what I'm saying? So you gain weight. And so in that situation, that's a beautiful thing. He gained weight. Matter of fact, there's some sisters that when you gain a little weight, they go, "Oh, yeah, he's cuddly. That's my teddy bear. I like the little weight. I like the fact that he's not skinny anymore." But it's something that she loved because why? It's a relationship thing. See, you got to be careful when you're shaming yourself. Now, once again, am I saying that it's healthy for somebody to be, for a woman or a man, really man or woman, to be like 400, 500 pounds and stuff and just be, no, no, no. That's not healthy, right? And we need to figure some things out, right? But what I'm saying is, we're not here to try and attack you for who you are. That's the essence of body shaming. That's the core of it, right? My sister, there's a man out there that no matter what your body looks like, I know you sitting up there, and there's a man out there who would love to be with you and love your body. I promise you, right? Now, this isn't something you should go for, but I'm just trying to get you to see there's a man out there that just because you are a woman wants to be able to have relations with you. Right. Just because you're ashamed doesn't mean somebody doesn't see the value in you. We talk about this all the time. The devil sees more value in us than a lot of us do, because if we realize the level of hell he's trying to put you through, even though he's not even there, but he's trying to put you through something to accuse you, to tempt you, to deceive you, to make you anxious, to make you frustrated. If you realize how much stuff he was putting you through, you'd realize the value you had. How you doing, brother Frank? Matter of fact, there are some of you that your parents used to make fun of you and used to make you feel bad about how you look and stuff like that, right? And so do you think that if I came out of their womb, or if I'm their seed, whatever the case might be, if they don't have love for me, then why would I have love for me? But that's not a barometer of who you are. A lot of times your parents are, do you know it's possible for your parents to be jealous of you, or your parents to be frustrated because, trigger warning, for educational purposes only, trigger warning. Some of your parents are frustrated because they didn't have vision, and because they allowed somebody to change their vision, or because they lacked in judgment. They blame you because you came out of a lapse of judgment, and so you are the fruit. And rather than believe that Jehovah can work out all things together for righteousness, for tabah, they have decided that you are the problem. And so a lot of you, your body shaming has come from a place to where when you were in the womb, you were already the problem. That's how you were treated, right? And so because of that, in your mind, you can never be any better or any greater than. But that's not who you are, right? For some of you, not all of you, but there are some of you that you could never. But watch this: if you could never please your mother or your father, your physical mother or father, anyways, then what's the point in trying now? Just be who you're supposed to be. You can still honor them without having to worry about whether you please them. You know that's possible, right? You know that's possible, right? You can still honor your parents without having to please them every turn and every step of the way. It is possible, right? Now, in all this stuff in body shaming, I'm saying all this to address it, to make it a point to just let you guys know. Sometimes, I didn't know this is what we were going to talk about today, um, right? But now I've gotten to a place in life where I've realized that our goal is to encourage. Ultimately, I guess that's where I'm trying to get you to, is encouragement. Yah really wants to encourage you. When you spend time with the Most High in the rising, Do you, before everybody gets up in the secret place that have you ever listened to the voice of Yah and felt encouraged? Hallelujah, somebody, right? Have you ever just sat there and listened to the voice of Yah for encouragement? You remember, I know you think it's a song, but it's based off of scripture as well, right? Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. You got to get in Yah's presence so that you can have something to encourage you. This is why we give affirmations and we suggest affirmations, right? Affirmations, Romans 8:1, right? I'm not under condemnation. Romans 8:11, the spirit that rose Christ dwells within me. Romans 8:18, the suffering that I'm going through now is not worthy to be compared to where I'm going. Romans 8:19, somebody's looking up to me. I'm attractive to somebody, even if it's just my life that's attractive. I'm attractive to somebody. Romans 8:28, all things work together for righteousness' sake. Romans 8:37, I'm more than a conqueror. Romans 8:38 and 39, I am persuaded because nothing can separate me from Yah's love. And by the way, if Jehovah created you, come on, somebody. If Jehovah created you and you're fearfully and wonderfully made, for real, fear is what? Respect, right? And wonder is amazement. So if he was if he's full of respect for you and you were wonderfully, he was full of amazement when he created you, then how could you say you're anything less than the apple of his eye? And if you're the apple of Yah's eye, then how does that make you worthy of being body shamed or even accepting it or doing it to yourself or doing it to somebody else? You see how it's not even acceptable? Elohim forbid such a mindset, right? Elohim forbid such a mindset that says that I would not love me. I am persuaded that nothing will separate me from the love, even the encouragement of the Most High. Even the encouragement of the Most High, I am persuaded that nothing will separate me. I am encouraged. How you doing, Money Green? I am encouraged. I am persuaded. There is nothing that's going to make me feel any less than what he's told me. The verses Romans 8:1, 11, 18, 19, 28, 37, 38, 39. So basically the same ones. Verse 1, verse 11, verse 18, verse 19, verse 28, verse 37. Now it's verse 37 through verse 39. Right? But these are things to remind you of how awesome you are, how great you are, how worthy you are. Yeah, you need to customize. You customize it for yourself, right? But this is you have to recognize the beauty in you. See, then, man, see what? It's just like your melanin. You don't ever measure melanin from the outside in. You measure it from the inside out. Well, the same with who you are. You know who you are will never really truly be measured from the outside in. I don't care if you're 100 years old and you still look like you're 25. We'll find out who you are from what comes out of your outside, right? Out of the abundance of the heart doth the mouth speak. They praise me with their lips, they honor me with their mouths, but their hearts are far from me. Yahashua is not just looking at the outward. Matter of fact, he says some of us are like whitewashed tombs. You look great on the outside, but on the inside, there's dead bodies. That's your purpose, is to entomb things that don't live. But you want to find out how attractive you are. Think about what Yah says about you. He said we must immerse ourselves in the word so it permeates our very from our every call. Yeah, if you want to see where somebody really, really feels about themselves, right? Right. See what comes out on the inside. And watch this. This is why we've got to start addressing the inner man. The inner man. My light emanates from the inside out. He says, how does someone start to live on the inside? Once again, so watch this. Affirmations. The affirmations are dealing with you, right? Matter of fact, here's an affirmation. See, watch this. You guys say stuff like fake it till you make it. The Bible says, speak those things that aren't as if they were. It's got to start on the inside. It's got to start from a faith. See, some of you are doing works without faith. Some of you have faith without works, right? But you've got to have the inner works and the outer works. You've got to have the inner faith, and it manifests into having faith on things on the outside. But it's going to start on the inside because your relationship with the Most High starts on the inside. The Holy Spirit, she's supposed to be on the inside. The kingdom of heaven is supposed to be where? On the inside. The throne of David, or the throne of the Most High. Therefore, he sits even on the inside. Now watch this. So if I'm dealing with something, I've got to believe it on the inside. I believed on the inside, even before I started voicing it on the outside, I believed that I could do what I do right now. I had to start believing it was possible and that I was worthy of the vocation on the inside. I had to speak it to myself. I told you, even before I preached to people, I preached to the trees. Because even if I didn't think I was worthy of being before people, or even couldn't get the opportunities to be in front of people, I still believed that there was something worthy. Somebody was going to get a message. If it was an ant, if it was a dog, if it was going to a tree, somebody was going to get a message from the Most High. If it was just me, I walk around preaching to myself because I have a message. There's a lot of messages that you guys will probably never hear that lift me up because with the gift that I have, it's for me first. You know, when you speak, it's for you first. Whatever you speak, that's why you have to be careful what you speak over others, because if you speak something unrighteous over somebody, guess what? The first person to hear it is you. The first person to think it is you. The first thing that has to move is your tongue. The first thing that has to fire is your synapses. The person's going to hear it eventually, but really you have to get it in your past. You're an eternal creature. So when you speak something in your past, it was already spoken. In your present, your tongue is moving, but in the future, the person will get the message. You have to realize this is an eternal thing. It starts on the inside. So how do I begin to develop the inside? I begin to develop a relationship with Yah, and I begin to say things to myself that his word says. I begin to say things to myself such as, speak those things that aren't as if they were. And then I believe it. So I start saying to myself, let's say I don't believe that I'm attractive. I get in front of a mirror and I say I'm handsome. I get in front of a mirror and I say I'm beautiful. Let's say I've dealt with this before. Somebody say, oh, I'm not a great person, this and that or whatever. I'll ask them, do you have children? I've been led to do this with people before. Do you have children? They say, yes, I have children. I say, okay, are you a great mother? Are you a great father? No, I'm not. Okay. Then I say, look. Think back to when your child was little. Your child was defenseless. Did you ever used to go on a walk with your child? Did you ever hold your baby in your arms? Did you ever just sit somewhere and look at your child and they made you laugh and you made them laugh? And they say, yeah. I say, okay, close your eyes and forget everything right now except that feeling, that moment. Because this is eternity. You have a choice to be able to focus in eternity on what it is that you want to. You know this, right? So I say, close your eyes and focus in on that moment. Some of you should probably do this right now because some of you don't do this enough to remember. You can remember all the places that you failed. You can be so busy, remember what happened at work, but you can't remember. Remember back to when you used to hold that baby in your arms. Remember the feeling that gave you. Remember the oxytocin levels that were spiking up in you and would spike up in the baby. Remember sometimes when you even had the father involved or the mother involved, and all three of you were sitting there in basking in the presence, and nothing mattered except the beauty of natural law. You remember that? You're so busy saying how awful you are that you cannot remember the amazing moment. Sorry, Sister Monica. I'm not sure what's happening. You can remember all these different things, but you cannot remember this awesome moment that's going on to where you were just in a state of joy and ecstasy. You could have been in the middle of being kicked out and looked at your baby and said, it's all going to be all right. You could have been ready to give up, but then had your baby and knowing that nobody going to raise that baby like you did. And you said, this baby makes it worth it. You remember that? Right? But in your mind, you are ashamed of being you, not realizing that if it wasn't for you, your baby wouldn't even have made it. But you have the audacity And I'm sorry to say it to you, but I've got to be honest with you. You are audacious enough, right, to auspiciously, right, extract yourself from positivity to be able to focus on taking your foot off the accelerator that you would not press but be depressed because you don't realize who you are. This is the same thing. This type of shaming allows body shaming. And a lot of people use body shaming because they, rather than try to focus on positive aspects of themselves, must do something to make you come off of focusing on positive aspects of yourself. You see, the problem is not even the body shaming. The problem is the shame that we carry for being ourselves. Even the word says, I'm not ashamed of what the word of Yah says. Some of you still say God spell, but I'm not ashamed of the interpretation of the word of Yah. If it says this about me, it says it. And I believe it, and I will live it, and I will be awesome in it, and I will not just hear it, but I will do it. And if the Bible says, therefore, that my gift will make room, then that means there must be something attractive about me from the inside out that's about to make room for me, so that when I show up in a room, somebody gonna be attracted to something in me, something about me, something that I manifest because I believe what it says. Somebody might call that confidence, right? And I'm not saying we shouldn't be confident, but some would call that confidence. Others would just call it obedience. I obey what Yah says. And if Yah says that I'm fearfully, wonderfully made, even if I don't know what it's about, I can at least respect his word enough to repeat it to myself. Not to give an opinion. This is where an opinion messes up. You guys hear me all the time. I do not like to opine. People say, Pastor, what is your opinion about this? What is your opinion of? No, no, no. I'm going to give you contextual facts. I don't want to give you fact without context. I do not want to give you context without fact. Let me give you contextual facts because my opinion could mess you up. My opinion could even make you of lesser value than what you are. And rather than cause something that would be a stumbling block, including shaming you, I want to be able to speak righteousness into you and remind you that Yah wants you to focus on who he said you were from the foundations of the world. Matter of fact, even before the foundations of the world. Right? By this will men know that you are his disciples, by the way you love one another. Start focusing on how you love yourself and then start taking that love that Yah has shown you, but then start emanating towards somebody else and watch your attraction or people's attraction of you go up. And see, some of us are so busy worried about body shaming, but the reality is there's somebody that loves you. See, because at some point, I'm not saying, look, I'm not telling sisters you can't wear this, wear that, whatever. I'm not doing that whole thing tonight, right? But hear what I'm saying, sister. There's a brother that looks forward to waking up next to you and doesn't care, right? If you got your makeup on or not. Do you know there are women that literally brag about the fact that their husbands have never seen them without their makeup? For what? That what is there to be braggadocious about that for? You've covered up, you've lied about what you are so much that you can't even go to sleep in a healthy fashion. Who you dealing with that you can't even show yourself? I'm just saying. There's a brother out there that doesn't ever need you to put on Spanx or whatever the stuff is called now, that never needs to see you with it because he loves you. There's a brother that loves the crust that's in your eye when you get up. There's a brother that loves the unladylike stuff that you don't have to do around him. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? But you have been taught to be ashamed of who you are for so long. Some of you have learned to change. Can we be honest? Can I be? I'm put my hand up on this. You know, I changed. I finally started getting into my laugh. For the first time, I've been surprised at what I laugh at usually, and I actually kind of feel like I'll kind of like almost have like a Dr. Hibbert type laugh. For those of you who know The Simpsons, where every once in a while I'll be like, like something like that, like a weird television dad kind of fake laugh. And I'm like, it's weird to me. But you know why it's weird to me? Because there was actually a time in my life to where I was so worried about what others thought and I was so insecure. I tried to change the way I laughed. I used to practice laughing because I wanted my laugh to be cool. It doesn't even make sense. But I practiced my laugh to ensure that my laugh fit in. I didn't want people to make fun of my laugh. And so I figured out what kind of laugh is there. But when I genuinely laugh, I kind of have like a really, I call it, nowadays because I practice it so much, a corny laugh. Right. But I'm kind of getting used to it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what I sound like. You know, yeah, you're supposed to be genuine. But once again, the body shaming comes from a place of where we've been taught to not be genuine. You said you get teased for a chipmunk laugh. Yeah, yeah, but it's, but we have to be all right with who we are. The world has taught you to be ashamed. And this is where the first place the body, and watch this, when others body shame us, it should be something that has less effect. I won't say it doesn't have any, because I know that whole thing people say sticks and stones will break my bones, but words can never hurt you. That's foolishness. Words hurt. Matter of fact, words hurt, especially if your love language is words of affirmation. Words hurt more than sticks and stones, right? Somebody could hurt me really bad physically and it not mean that much to me, and we could be fine in a couple weeks, but mess around and say something, and it's hard for me. I know pastors aren't supposed to admit it. That's harder for me to wrap my mind around forgiveness and building up trust than it is if somebody were to straight up just try to take my life. I can't explain it, but that's my love language, right? I've had this happen where I still have to have interactions with people who literally at least flashed like they could take my life, and I had to defend myself and had to get in the scrap. And I found it easier to be in relationship with them, right, in some kind of way, even if it's, I still got to love you from a distance, but I can still have a relationship with you easier than somebody who says certain things towards me, right? Yeah, amen. We're all human, and so am I, right? But I'm just trying to tell you, it's very, you have to be careful about body shaming others and body shaming yourself. Now, last thing I'm gonna say, because I've gone longer than what I actually intended to, and the Holy Spirit's telling me it's time to wrap it up and let us get ready for our tomorrow. So we'll say our farewell soon. However, it would be irresponsible and shameful of me to not remind you of this very thing. It would be irresponsible and shameful of me to not remind you of this very thing, to not bring back to your remembrance even. This is why community and culture is important. Because what does your culture say about beauty standards? Ooh, can I say that again? This is why culture and community is important, because what does your culture say about beauty standards? See, once again, we started off by saying people that have oppressed us. And by the way, light skin, dark skin, white, black, red, yellow, whatever color you want to put up there, right? We've all dealt with the oppressor, because the oppressor has to make everybody believe that they are the standard, right? You have to ask yourself, now, right? What in our community is attractive? See, we don't have a standard, or at least we don't live by it. Sis, can I tell you something? Do you know? Okay, just for educational purposes only, right? I'm telling you off of research. I'm telling you off of what these women have told me. I'm telling you off what these women have told some of the women in our diaspora. I'm telling you what some of the women have told my wife. All right. I'm just telling you what has been revealed to me by hanging around people or talking to people or whatever. Do you know that white women who are thicker, some of y'all might try to call them fat, but thicker, more voluptuous, whatever, do you know in their society they are ostracized? You know why they are ostracized? They could be more attractive, but they are ostracized. Why? Because they look too much like you. They look too much like you. You said your men pick them up, sure, okay. And a lot of our sisters pick up their men, right? But and I'm not even getting into that arena. That's a whole arena where we could be there and all. You see what I'm saying? But just hear me for a second on the body shaming point. You got to realize that the body shaming, the people that are having their body shamed, are the people who are threatened by your body. You got to figure out what your standard is. I'm not going to say this is 100% accurate because there's always exceptions to the rule. But have you ever thought about a lot of the sisters? A lot of our white sisters are usually sisters that actually kind of have a body type that's at least more. I won't even always say similar to yours, but at least in other societies can be confused for yours. This is about a standard. This is about a standard, right? And you need to set a standard in your community that it's all right for you to carry your body type. Now, I'm not saying all black women are a monolith. I'm not saying that all black women have to look like, and by the way, even think about what I'm about to say, how much they had to even draw their characters to look like. You think about what I'm about to say. I'm not saying all black women have to look like Jessica Rabbit. Or if you were in Dexter's laboratory, how Dexter's mom had a big old booty and stuff. They put this stuff out there for you to know exactly what's going on or what they're attracted to. Right? While they don't like you, they can't help but be you or try to be you. Matter of fact, now we're trying to get BBL so we can be more like us, because really we're trying to be more like them because they started getting the surgery and they said that this is what's attractive, and you tried to go out of your way to be something that you carry naturally. What's his name? The guy who's the comedian who I call her his wife because they've been together, had children and stuff. And in our culture, sex is marriage, marriage is sex. But had the girlfriend DC Young Fly or D something Young Fly, whatever his name is, from Atlanta. And his wife died. His girlfriend, whatever, died. The mother of his children died because she was getting BBL done. And if you look at her prior to her getting the BBL, I was like, what's she needed for? The mommy makeover. Yeah, I just heard that term recently, which is so wild because once again, if you're with somebody who loves you, what you need to make over for being a mother, that's your badge of honor. Some people believe it's a sacrifice. Yeah, I don't know enough about it to be honest to even know the details. Could it have been? It was not surprising with the stuff that they do out here. I don't know enough about it, about that particular case. I do agree that it could be a possibility. I just don't know. Um, But I'm just saying, there's people who were, we were watching something the other night, and it was some woman that was like one of the first. Some people call her the first supermodel. She was trying to, they black everything up, but it was still crazy to me. The imagery, even with it being totally blurred, like you couldn't even tell what was going on outside of what they were saying they were doing, and the force that the person was trying to do, and they were trying to do like breast implants and stuff. And my wife and I were watching, and I couldn't take it. Like my stomach was turning. I couldn't sleep well that night. They were literally like moving muscle to try and put these implants in, and and I didn't know this, but apparently, if you get implants, at least back then, I'm assuming the technology can't be too improved in this regard because it's still poisonous stuff in your body that you have to basically make sure every 20 years, if it's done well, you have to make sure that you change the stuff out. So if you get breast implants, let's say you get breast implants when you were 20, that means you better get them done by 40. If you can't afford to get them by 40, maybe you try to make them last at 45, 50, but you could easily lose your life. So you got to have breast implant money at 20, or whoever's paying for it at 20, then you got to have it again at 40 and at 60 and at 80. And let's say you live to be 100, you might have to have it then too, rather than just be yourself. You said, no, the technology has improved. Now it's 5 years for an adjustment. I mean, hey, I guess. Either way, why not be you? You know, we have a friend of the family. And when I say friend of the family, I don't really know the person. So what'd you say? You said I think the implants have to be redone every 10 years. Okay, what even less than what I thought? Wow, that's scary, right? At least to me. Now I'm not a woman, so you can say, man, well, it's not that scary, this and that. I don't want any surgery. I've had dental surgery and that's been enough. I don't want any more surgeries. It done jacked me up enough. Um, but it's not worth it. And I need you to, ooh, okay. Holy Spirit, can I say? Okay. All right. I did say I was pretty much done. I asked permission. Look, it's just like everything else. You go to the doctor because they feed you to make you go to the doctor, if you get what I'm saying, right? They give you the things that make you sick, and then you have to go to the hospital, right? You go to um you go to the banks for loans because they pay you on a level that makes you in debt. So you have to go to the bank for loans, right? Um, right? They they feed you knowledge and truth that's not really knowledge, that's not really truth. So that you have to keep on doing your best to try and maneuver through lies. But watch this. They literally, when they're talking about this stuff, they feed you, they make you feel bad so that you have to go get the surgery that could take your life. But hey, even if it takes your life, as long as your insurance pays the bill, who cares? How you doing, Birmingham? Thanks for joining us. I think you were with us on the rising session. Right? Literally, who cares if it takes your life? Because money's in their pocket. They're feeding you the ideology that makes you go get the BBL done. And it's like, and you got to ask yourself. See, it's like people don't believe it until you realize that the same people that make, people don't believe the system, how wicked it is. The same people who give you the 360 deals and tell you what to rap about are the same people who own the prisons. You got to make sure that you push an ideology that fills up the prison. The same people that own the prisons, they are the ones that tell your governments, right? They say, hey, make sure that we get this many people pulled over, make sure we have this many people go to jail. You need to you need to meet a quota, right? The same people who teach you in school are the same people who later on will say, we won't allow you to get your GED in prison, but we will let you get a job. And once you finish your job and paying your debt to society and being a slave, we won't let you vote because you still then have to pay us back double. And then once you pay us back double, then maybe you can start getting Social Security, and maybe we'll think about letting you have a choice as far as voting, even though voting really ain't your choice. Anyways, it's something that's there to strategically make you think you have a choice. Right? But the same, think about it. Think about this. I was just listening to some people talk about Billie Eilish. Is that her name? The girl, or is she a woman now? Whatever. She got her first Grammy when she was 13 years old, and she used to say all this stuff that doesn't really make sense. Like Billie Eilish, and I'm not saying this part doesn't make sense, but so Billie Eilish, if you remember her, I never really watched her or anything, but I've read things about her the last year or so, and I know she used to wear big clothes to hide her body that was forming. And I guess when she was really young, she had big breasts from when she was like really young. So when she went through puberty and started developing, she had big breasts. And therefore, since she had big breasts, she said she didn't want everybody in the world to be able to look at her bosom. And therefore, it made her uncomfortable and she couldn't handle it at that time. Meanwhile, though, she would sit there and she would look at other people. She would look at guys and she would say, and she would look at women dating men as she was wearing these big clothes. And she would say, hey, we need to really have a conversation. Why are you guys out here with these ugly dudes? Right. And but then she would say, we shouldn't body shame, and that really, men have it easier than women because nobody says this and that or whatever. And both can be true. Men can go through a lot of stuff. Like, for example, it's acceptable. Like it's bad nowadays, especially on social media. You'll get canceled and stuff for saying this girl is fat or this girl is this or whatever. But you say that about a man, people are just like, oh, yeah, he is fat. Get in the gym, fatty. That's kind of what they treated like, right? And she was kind of following the same course. But then you have to realize and recognize, once again, she got her first Grammy. At least I don't know if she's gotten any more since, but she got her first Grammy when she was what? 13. Right? That means at 13 years of age, people have put her on a pedestal. People were listening to everything she had to say because she was making money. And at 13, she thought that she understood life. Right? And she hadn't even begun to love herself yet because she couldn't deal with showing her body. And she thought that showing her body was over sexualizing it. Now, are there men and are there people in, by the way, she's a little girl in the music industry. There's probably a lot of men that wanted to have their way with her and maybe have, right? But she had this mindset, but she didn't even love herself yet. But we were more concerned about making sure that she loved music enough to make sure that you loved her music rather than she loved herself. We can you see the condition that we have? The society has set it up to where you are going to grow up with issues when it comes to your body because they want you to grow up with issues when it comes to yourself. This is a school to prison pipeline. This is a place to where, look, they want you to argue. And I'm not, once again, I'm not here to say you can't have a wig or protective hairstyles. Just hear what I'm saying. They want you to think that hair that is not yours is more important. Matter of fact, there are a lot of our sisters that cut their hair off and will wear other hair. And I'm not saying every woman needs to have long hair because I'm not married to every woman. It's not my business. Right. But what I will tell you is a lot of our sisters cut off who they are because they've been cut off from who they are. You said even Michael Jackson's skin color saga is proof of the industry. Yeah. And by the way, his natural skin color, he actually did deal with Villalago, but he could have, but for the longest time, he was putting on, paint or whatever he was putting on his body that made him look his color. But then he decided to start looking a different color. Right? And more than likely, if there was skin bleaching, he probably started bleaching his skin to make sure that bleaching the skin that was darker to make sure that it matched the skin that was lighter. Right. But once again, that comes from intrinsic hate. By the way, if you look at Michael Jackson, see, we keep forgetting about what gets these people to this place. We just go, oh, yeah, Joe Jackson was slapping him upside the head. He was abused. Michael Jackson didn't have a childhood. They practiced 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. No days off. Michael Jackson, you know that song off of, I don't know, what is it, his fourth album? Or whatever. People don't know Michael Jackson was putting albums out when he was a little child. A lot of people think Off the Wall is his first album. No, it's like, oh no, Off the Wall is like his fourth album or fifth album, something like that, right? But that song, Ben, and forgive my voice at this moment, I don't know if I'm be able to sing this right, but that song that's like, when the two of us need love no more, we both found what we were looking for. That one, right? That was a song. And if you look at it now, who knows? Because they do change some of the stuff to make sure their stories move certain ways. But more than likely, that was a song. If you even look at the video is filled with rats, right? You know why the video is filled with rats? Because Michael Jackson had no friends. There was a rat that was in his house, right? And when the rat was running around his house, right, he actually thought he treated it like a pet, like it was his friend. Right? His mother found out they had a rat and didn't know he was looking at it as a pet. And so basically his father came down there, put a rat trap down there, and he found the rat. Michael Jackson found the rat dead. And so he wrote a song about the rat, right? That's why if you go look at the video, that's why if you look at the video, it's got all those rats running around. And right, because that was his friend. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that, we have to realize he didn't have, you see what I'm saying? But we'll just go, but see his body shaming, cutting his nose off, changing his skin color, having his hair fried and all that stuff, right? Making sure that he was as whitewashed as possible, wearing the uniforms that he was wearing, all types of stuff that he was doing to make sure that he, lived to certain things. And then because of that later on, being around children inappropriately, even if, and I don't believe he slept with the children. Matter of fact, all three children, the main three children that they always bring up, the ones that were paid off, all three of them, including the ones that after his death would then come out to make more money and do that whole series or whatever they made, when they tried to make money off of that whole R. Kelly thing. And then they said, okay, cool, R. Kelly thing made us a lot of money. Let's do Michael Jackson next. And then they did somebody else after them. All three of the people that Michael paid off, all three of them admitted, right, that they lied, including even one of them that took unalive themselves. But he was around children inappropriately at times. Why? Because he himself was a big child, because he never had a childhood. He was still stuck. He was cutthroat when it came to business and stuff like that. You can be mature in a lot of different ways and still be immature in a lot of different ways. He had never grown past a certain level. He had self-hatred in certain levels, right? As a matter of fact, there were things he didn't know if he loved or hated about himself, but he was trying to figure out who he was. Yeah, the place is called Neverland. You got giraffes all over the place, and you got elephants. He's got Bubbles, the monkey, and stuff like that. He's doing stuff that little children do. He hangs out with children because he believes children are innocent. And he had his innocence stolen from him. So in a sense, in a weird way, it's almost like an energy vampire thing. He's like, if there's children around, maybe I'll get some childhood. They took his childhood from him. So there comes the body shame. He's ashamed of something. Now his body changes. It doesn't take that much. Lil' Kim was somebody that was all over Biggie Smalls, and she was somebody that was trying to rap and rap a certain way. Biggie Smalls started said, "Hey, ain't nobody gonna listen to you, with those lyrics and stuff like that. You need to be a sex symbol. You need to put yourself out there." And he was basically, having sex with her, and she was his main one while he was out there having sex with all these other people. That's why Faith Evans. Faith Evans, y'all think Faith Evans and Biggie were together all this time because that's what they make it feel like. They were married for 2 weeks. They had a relationship for 2 weeks, right? Biggie was with Kim behind the scenes, and he was writing her lyrics, and he was making her out to be this person that was really disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, that was, if you look up Biggie and Faith Evans, they were literally married for 2 weeks. That was it. They met, fell for each other hard, had sex. More than likely, the child is his. But Lil' Kim, like that's how quick it was. Lil' Kim, right? But you see Faith on the every step I take. And by the way, did y'all know that Puff Daddy never asked for the right to be able to use the Sting music and stuff like that? So for the rest of Puff Daddy's life, he has to pay him like $2,000 a week or something crazy like that for the rest of his life, or 2,500, something like that. That was interesting to me. Anyways, that's an aside. I just learned that, but yeah. Um, yeah, Biggie was with Lil' Kim, and so when Biggie passed away, everybody talking about Faith Evans and Puff Daddy and all this. And Lil' Kim was really hurt after that happens, and she didn't know who she was, and Biggie was kind of treating her the way he was. Guess what happens? Look at Lil' Kim's life after that. Look at Lil' Kim's skin color. Look at Lil' Kim's nose. Look at Lil' Kim's body. And everybody used to have a crush on Lil' Kim. All the boys had a crush on Lil' Kim because Lil' Kim was kind of, our first thought part. Like Lil' Kim was the Foxy Brown of our generation. I know there was Foxy Brown the rapper. I'm talking about, for a lot of us, Lil' Kim was like what Foxy Brown in the 70s. Y'all remember, if some of y'all know who I'm talking about, Foxy Brown in the 70s, who still was looking, for her age, was kind of tantalizing for a lot of people when she was even doing movies like literally Foxy Brown. Isn't that the name of the Quentin Tarantino thing that she did? Or was it something else? Wasn't it called Foxy Brown too? Or something like that? Whatever it was called. Pam Grier. What was that Quentin Tarantino movie that she did? She was in it. Samuel L. Jackson was in it. Was Robert something was in it. Chris Tucker was in it. It was called Foxy Brown. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you have a lot of people who are not aware of what's going on. How you doing, Joseph? A lot of people aren't aware, right, that they had this shame. And so because of the shame that you have, the body shame that you have, it comes from a place of shame. So if we learn how to not be ashamed of ourselves, our standard should be to be who Yahweh has called us to be ultimately, right? These people are giving you a false sense of who you are. These people are giving you a false sense of who you are due to the fact that if you believe it, you're going to go into the doctor and say, change me. You're going to go into the doctor and say, give me drugs to help me deal with the fact that I don't know who I am. One of the greatest tricks of the devil, I know the saying is the greatest trick of the devil is to make you think he never existed. One of the greatest tricks of the devil is to make you think that who you are doesn't exist. Because when you don't know who you are, you go through a lot of stuff. If you don't have a plan for your life, somebody does. All right. Holy Spirit said that's it. You should let me go a little longer than even what I thought was too long. All right. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Once again on Wednesday, tomorrow is as planned. I'll see y'all in the Rising. Wednesday, which is normally my day off, at 9 a.m. Eastern New York time, I plan on being on Apostle Yomi's um, live session. So if you want to join us for that, It'll be at 9 a.m., not 8 a.m. So if you're looking for me, I will be on Wednesday. Also, too, next Wednesday, I will be on as well, because next Monday, so this Monday coming up, I will not be on the live session. We got to make sure we do a couple things to make sure that everything's going to be all right for our travels coming up. And so I have to do it on Monday, first thing in the rising. So I will not be available. If there's some way that we can do a live session like in the afternoon, maybe I'll try to pop in and do something special. But we will not be doing a live session next Monday. I will make it up by being on next Wednesday. So these next 2 Wednesdays, uh, the 13th and the 20th, I will be on. This Wednesday, the 13th, I will be on at 9 a.m. Eastern New York time. Next Wednesday, I will be on at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. This Monday coming up, I will not be on. Right? We will probably have, we should have our early riser Bible study session, so that will be on. But I will not be on this Monday coming up. Also, too, please don't forget, please, ma'am, please, sir, we have our Women in Red event. Brothers, you are also invited. Women, we ask that you dress in red in solidarity if you can. And we'll have our two MITs, Minister in Training Jenny and Minister in Training Minister in Training Tracy, giving their initial sermons. We'll also try to make sure that all of our sisters that are on the ministerial staff will be involved in some way, shape, or form. So we're excited about what your hub is going to be doing. Don't forget that the 25th through the 31st, not because of Christmas, but because of 7 days leading up to Watch Night service, leading up into the Julian calendar New Year, right? We're gonna hashtag finish strong. We got a few days left, so let's finish strong and looking beyond what we see. But we're gonna do intermittent fasting from December 25th through December 31st, and we ask that once we celebrate on 31st, then you finally break your fast as far as eating when the sun, before the sun goes down. So if you can join us for that, and we are specifically fasting to ensure that we are going to be ready to expect the blessing. And if you can join us on December 31st for Watch Night service, we don't do New Year's Eve, but for Watch Night service, if you can join us, we're going to pray our way in. So at probably about 11:55 p.m. Eastern New York time, we're going to start opening up, and we're just going to start praying. So if you can join us for that service, but especially that part, we would love to have you and pray into the new year with us as a community, as a diaspora. And we look forward to seeing you. So thank you again. We appreciate you. I shall see you guys tomorrow on the Rising at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. Take care. Let those affirmations wash over you. Romans 8:1, Romans 8:11, Romans 8:18, Romans 8:19, Romans 8:28, Romans 8:37 through 39. And we look forward to talking to you guys soon. Appreciate you. Hopefully this helped you with some things. And let's continue to reach the Most High, and let's spend some time with him so that he can encourage us. And that means when you pray, you might want to listen so that he can encourage you instead of only talking to him. All right. Take care. Thank you all. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you guys soon. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. Please check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. We thank you so much, and we'll talk to you guys soon. And as always, it's been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Peace.